Today we are going to take notes on the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem says if you have a right triangle, right, so you have one right angle, let's say A is one of your legs and B is the other leg. So you remember the legs are the sides that form the right angle. And C, your hypotenuse, is the one across from the right angle. Then leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared, or A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So if we look here, here is my right angle. That means that 6 and 8 are my legs, and that X is the hypotenuse. So leg squared plus leg squared, 6 squared plus 8 squared equals X squared. So 6 squared is 36 plus 8 squared is 64 equals X squared. Combine like terms, 36 plus 64 is 100. And then we need to get the X by itself. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So your square root button, you're going to press second, you're going to press the green button, and then X squared. It's just to the left of the number 7. So press the green button and then the X squared button. It'll give you the radical sign. And the square root of 100 equals 10. So X equals 10. So that is the example. I would like you to go through the next 3 on your own and then compare your answers, but I will also work through them. So I would recommend you press pause, do the next 3, and then hit play. But here we go. So again, the sides that make the 90-degree angle, those are your legs. So 7 squared plus 24 squared equals the hypotenuse X squared. So 49 plus 576 equals X squared. You add those together, you get 625 equals X squared. Then again, we take the square root of both sides. So X equals 25. We notice 25 is the biggest number between 7, 24, and 25. So that's a hint that you got it right, because the hypotenuse is always the longest side. So if your hypotenuse is shorter, then you know something happened, something went wrong. Okay. So here again, we have the 2 legs make up the 90-degree angle. 16 squared plus X squared equals 19 is your hypotenuse. It is all by itself. Right? The one across from the 90 is the hypotenuse. It is all by itself. So 16 squared is 256. X squared stays there. 19 squared is 361. So now this changes a little bit. This time, we're going to have to subtract. Subtract 256 from both sides. So X squared equals 105. Take the square root of both sides. X equals 10.2, okay? For these here, I want you to round to the nearest 10. Okay, so 10.2. And again, if you press second X squared, which is to the left of 7, you would get the square root of 105. And then press the double arrow key over enter. That is how it converts to a decimal key. So you find the button like this. That's right on above the enter button, and that'll convert your square root to a decimal. Okay, last one, 5 squared plus X squared equals 10 squared. 25 plus x squared equals 100. X squared equals 75. Square root of both sides. X equals 8.7. So that is the basic Pythagorean theorem. And now we're going to move on to Pythagorean theorem word problems. So the hardest part about this is setting it up. So here we have a doorway. It's 7 feet high and 3 feet wide. It asks for the diagonal length of the doorway. So we assume our doorway is perpendicular. It's not crooked. So we have to find this right triangle. So here, my legs and my hypotenuse. Here we have a right triangle. And notice the directions say round to the nearest tenth. Sorry, my pen's acting. So we say 3 squared plus 7 squared equals x squared, right? The x is across from 90, x is our hypotenuse. So 9 plus 49 equals x squared. 58 equals x squared. Then we're going to take the square root of both sides. X equals 7.6 feet. And here I would really like you to include your units. Okay. So if you get number 2, we are going to have a lot of problems like this. So I just want you to notice that this has a 13-foot ladder. So my ladder is 13 feet long. It is set in the ground 5 feet away from a wall. My wall is always vertical. Okay. And then it says the top of the ladder is leaned against the wall. So my ladder is going to be my hypotenuse. My ladder is going to be diagonal. Okay. So my wall is perpendicular to the ground. My ground is flat. My wall is straight up and down. My ladder is on a diagonal. So my 13-foot ladder. So my ladder is 13. Is set into the ground right here, 5 feet away from the wall. How high above the ground will the ladder touch the wall? So here again, you set up your Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. X squared plus 25 equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides. X squared equals 144. So x is going to equal 12. And then we go back and check our units. Feet. Next 2. So again, I would recommend you pause the video, try these on your own, come back and check. Or maybe watch me draw the picture, pause the video, do the work, come back and check. But I will keep going. Okay, so in shop class, you make a rectangular table. The sides of the table measure 18 inches and 36 inches. How long is the diagonal of the table? So rectangle, we know both sides are equal. We know this is a right angle. So here we have another right triangle. 18 squared plus 36 squared equals x squared. 18 squared is 324. 36 squared is 1296. 1,620 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides. X equals 40.2, and don't forget your inches, right? 2 marks is inches, 1 is a foot. All right, number 4, TV monitors are always measured using the length of the diagonal. Right, so we're going to assume our TV is a rectangular TV. You are buying a 55-inch TV. So that says the length of the diagonal is 55 because that's how they're sold. Okay. It is 27 inches high. How wide is the new TV? So again, here is my right angle, my 27, and my X. Make that right angle. So X squared plus 27 squared is 729. 55 squared is 3025. Subtract 729 from both sides. X squared equals 2296. Take the square root of both sides. And X equals, if you want to be exact, 47.9 inches. These last two are a little tricky, especially number 5. So I will talk through this one, and I would like to draw the whole picture, right? Scott wants to swim across a river that is 400 meters wide. So here's my river. It is 400 meters across the river. And Scott is here, and he wants to go straight across. He begins swimming perpendicular to the opposite shore. So his goal, right, this is where he starts. This is where he wants to travel. But he ends up, so he wants to end up here. He wants to land here, but he ends up 100 meters downriver. So if my current is pushing us this way, instead of going straight across, he swam diagonally downstream and ended up 100 meters downriver from where he was aiming to land. So this is where he wanted to land. This is where he did land. And there's a 100-meter difference. How far did he swim? So you say 400 squared plus 100 squared equals x squared. And if you want to save some writing, you can plug this whole thing into your calculator, and it should give you 170,000. Take the square root of both sides. You should get 412.3. And then number 6, you're building a new ramp. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a right triangle. Right? This diagonal part is my ramp, my height, my distance. Okay? So your ramp will be 2.5 feet off the ground. So this is going to be 2.5. It will cover a horizontal distance of 30 feet. So that means this horizontal, the flat ground distance, is 30 feet. How long will the ramp be? So I take 2.5 squared plus 30 squared equals x squared. So 6.25 plus 900 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides, x equals 30.1 feet. And those are your notes on the Pythagorean theorem. You can flip your page over, and the back side of the page will be on the next video.